Hi, this is Simon and welcome to another marvelous video. Gear up as we unveil the 12 most underrated Superman villains of all time, their origin stories, and why they deserve more screen time. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. So who is the first villain that comes to your mind when someone says Superman? Is it Lex Luthor or General Zod? Or perhaps Darkseid? Yes, there are more famous Superman villains commonly portrayed in movies and series, but Superman has dealt with a long list of notorious bad guys who haven't received their dues in live action or animated recreations. So let's delve into the origin stories of the 12 lesser known Superman baddies. But before we go into our explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Zadu, aka the Phantom King. You might know that General Zod and his allies were sent to the Phantom Zone for their crimes against Krypton, but do you know who the first Kryptonian was to be sentenced to this parallel universe for criminals? It was Dr. Zadu, who later became a spiteful adversary of Superman as he emerged from the Phantom Zone as the Phantom King. Dr. Zadu was a scientist and a researcher who went a bit too far with his experiments. He developed technologies that could allow him to control space and time. He conducted trials on the people of Krypton, and for his evil doings, the Kryptonian Council banished him to the Phantom Zone. But Dr. Zadu was too smart for the Kryptonians. During his banishment, he designed an ecto-suit for himself. The suit allowed him to travel between the physical world and the Phantom Zone, making him Superman's unpredictable enemy who attacked from the shadows. Moreover, Dr. Zadu's Kryptonian anatomy gives him all the powers that Superman possesses, which makes him an equally powerful opponent. He also harnesses weapons such as the sledgehammer and poison claws that cause significant damage to anyone who crosses his path. Zadu has a brilliant mind of a scientist, and he can use his knowledge to give Superman a tough fight. His intelligence and technological prowess enable him to yield powerful weapons to destroy Superman. Our prediction is that if Zadu joins forces with the Phantom Zoners or the anti-Superman army, he can become a compelling threat, not just to Superman, but the entire Justice League. Although Zadu has not been in too many Superman series, you can find him fighting Superman in The Ghost in the Fortress of Solitude, At the Day's End, Superman Doomed, and Superman's Joker. Silver Banshee. Banshees in traditional Gaelic lore are a spirit with sharp stinging screams, which are an omen of death. The Silver Banshee in the Superman comics is Death herself. But who is Siobhan McDougal, aka Silver Banshee? Siobhan is the daughter of Garrett Smythe, aka the Black Banshee, and the leader of their Gaelic clan. After Garrett's death, the clan fought for new leadership using mystical powers, for they refused to accept Siobhan's leadership. A ritual took place without the consent of those in opposition, only to be bungled by Siobhan's brother. This caused Siobhan to enter Krone's underworld. Krone granted her a boon, which, as it turns out, was actually her curse of supersonic scream and super strength, transforming her into the Silver Banshee. The hateful Banshee went on a brutal murdering spree and finished off anyone who rubbed her the wrong way. Enter Superman to the rescue. Superman and the Silver Banshee met several times in Metropolis, but Superman always sent the Silver Banshee back with her wings between her legs. So why do we consider the Silver Banshee an underrated villain? The Silver Banshee is equipped with a string of powers, including superhuman strength and speed. She can possess the bodies of other beings, highlight her enemies' darkest fears, and drive them insane. She can also teleport. Additionally, she is bulletproof and can use her death stare to kill people, provided she knows their names. During Superman and the Silver Banshee's first encounter, Superman mistakenly identified her power as being visually driven. However, as it turns out, the Silver Banshee used her sonic screams, leaving Superman struggling for his life. The only way Superman got the upper hand was by tricking her into believing that he was dead and seeking help from John Jones. This is why we think Silver Banshee definitely has the potential to be a threatening challenge for Superman. Manchester Black. Manchester Black has a colourful storyline as he shifts roles from being an ally to an anti-hero to a full-blown supervillain. And yes, he has the power to kill Superman, but more on that in a while. First, let's look at the origin of this iconic rogue. Manchester Black had a tough childhood with an abusive father. He was left to fend for himself and his younger sister, Vera, at a young age. They would often con innocent passers-by and rob them to survive. On one such occasion, Black suffered from an acute headache, and his sister's nearly fatal accident prompted him to unleash his telekinetic powers. The adult Manchester Black led a team of 4 members called the Elite. Superman and the Elite joined hands to rescue people caught in a train attack. The Elite located the terrorists Solaris who caused the damage, and Black began to torture them, only to be stopped by Superman. This caused a rift between them, and Manchester Black turned into the anti-hero. So why is Manchester Black an underrated villain? Manchester Black has the ability to cast illusions, control minds, project himself into the astral realm, and seize other creatures' bodies. But his main powers are psychokinesis, which combines telepathic and telekinetic forces. In a fight with Superman, the Elite overpowered him after Black caused him to have a stroke. Superman once again relied on trickery to make Black believe that he was successful in killing the Elite one by one. Finally, Superman located and destroyed a legion in Black's skull, which he thought gave Black his powers. Had Manchester Black unleashed the full extent of his powers, he could have turned the stroke into a fatal blow. But we think he still has some good in him. He did try to help Superman after all. Solaris, the Tyrant's son. It was the 853rd century, and Superman and the Justice League faced one of the most powerful adversaries of all time, Solaris, the Tyrant's son. Solaris is a sentient star artificially created by the Justice League themselves. Solaris and Vandal Savage were fighting the Justice League in the 853rd century. The two supervillains manipulated time and sent across a deadly virus to present day, where the Justice League's only way to destroy the virus was by creating Solaris. Between birth to his ultimate destruction in the 853rd century, Solaris unleashed his powers, causing enough trouble to Superman and the Justice League. Yet Solaris remains an underrated villain in the Superman universe. Solaris is a deadly villain with the power to manipulate gravity and Earth's magnetic core and absorb energies from various sources. Additionally, it can control technology telepathically and is equipped with powers of invisibility, a force field, and thermal blasts, but not to mention the scorching heat it can set free across the universe. From cancerous radiation to de-aligning planets, Solaris has been the source of trouble in many Superman verses. Superman managed to reprogram Solaris many times, but somehow the Tyrant's son always returned with a vengeance. In their final battle, Superman used the Green Lantern's ring, a source unknown to Solaris, to weaken it, making it implode. Solaris, however, stayed in the universe in a lesser form. We believe that this supervillain has the potential to return, and this time ready to battle the unknown forces of the Green Lantern 2. Atomic Skull. A genetically modified bomb set off by Monarch transformed a college student, Joseph Martin, into a metahuman. The bomb altered his physical anatomy, burying his bones through a transparent layer of skin and making his skull visible. He also emits radiation from his body, which is one of his many superpowers. He decided to get himself checked and head to Star Labs, but had an unfortunate encounter with street goons. Joseph received a violent blow to his exposed skull, causing him to hallucinate. He started believing that he was a movie character named Atomic Skull, and his arch nemesis was none other than Superman. Atomic Skull is an undervalued DC villain with the probability of becoming a deadly evildoer. Not only is he a powerhouse of radiation, but he can also cause significant damage with his superhuman strength, durability, and stamina. He can also send radioactive blasts through long distances to hurt Superman before he can decide his next move. Atomic Skull has been introduced in the DC verse in different forms, giving him a sympathetic character arc in some, while portraying as a ruthless baddie in others. Regardless of his depiction, he has matched the potential of the Man of Steel and has been a formidable opponent. Superman ultimately weakened Atomic Skull's powers by binding a boron rod around his skull, which soaked his powers and returned him to normalcy. Fun fact, Atomic Skull was also the catalyst that caused the Elite and Superman to unite for the first time, introducing Superman to Manchester Black. Subject 17. This powerful villain can give a sound thrashing to Superman and has given us a glimpse of it in Superman and Lois. Subject 17 has an intriguing origin story. So here it is. The Soviets found a crashed spacecraft with a pregnant woman ready to give birth. They tried to save her, but she died while giving birth to an alien baby. The Soviets then decided to keep this baby in a static state and name it Subject 17. Subject 17 hulked up, growing stronger through the years, but was left in a dormant state as the Soviets were overthrown and the lab was left unattended. Years later, when the lab was rediscovered, Subject 17 managed to escape and unlock the full extent of his powers. Along with having super strength, Subject 17 has the ability to manipulate sound. He has super speed, he can fly, and has X-ray vision just like Superman, making him a worthy opponent. He is also known to use his telepathic and telekinetic powers to conquer his rivals. Subject 17 held a grudge against all of humanity, but the treatment of the Soviets and sought out Aryan, the Atlantean demigod, to unite in his mission to destroy the human race. Superman confronted Subject 17 in his quest to find Aryan. Superman's refusal to join him led Subject 17 to launch a full-force attack on Superman. Subject 17 is DC's underrated and unexplored villain, with powers equaling Superman's own and their alien physiology. Subject 17 is capable of unleashing destruction and giving Superman a befitting adversary. The Persuader. With an atomic axe that can cut through anything, including Superman himself, the Persuader is one of DC's most dynamic and formidable supervillains. The Persuader is seen in the DC verse in several different versions, but the core of them all remains the same. They all want to prove their self-worth. While one version of the Persuader appeared from a heavy gravity planet, another was a factory worker who got inspired by Superman. Each form wielded an atomic axe controlled by their minds. The axe was powerful enough to cut through metals, dimensions, and even gravity. The Persuader was said to have joined forces with the Fatal Five and became a staunch enemy of the Legion of Superheroes. Along with the axe, the Persuader is said to have immense strength and durability. He is highly trained in hand-to-hand combat and has the ability to smoothly persuade anyone to do his bidding, hence the name the Persuader. Superman encountered the Persuader on several occasions, but mainly as a part of the Fatal Five. In one of the fights, the Persuader used the atomic axe to injure Superman. However, Superman used his agility and super speed to expose the Persuader's weakness and defeat him. The Persuader's ability to create rifts in dimensions and wield the atomic axe to kill Superman have yet to be explored to their maximum potential. We believe that he can emerge as DC's most potent villain with a supportive storyline and even kill Superman with a hack of his axe. Brainiac. Brainiac was the mastermind who caused the annihilation of Krypton, yet he remains DC's underrated supervillain. This green alien is a tech genius, proficient in handling computer-based or robotic operations. Even his spaceship is highly advanced. There have been too many versions of Brainiac with too many different backstories. It is probably one of the reasons why this adversary is yet to be picked up for his on-screen debut. Brainiac uses his evil genius to shrink cities across the universe to redecorate his world. As he moved from one planet to another, he reached Earth when he encountered Superman. Superman tried to fight Brainiac but got shrunk along with his city. In the end, Superman got his hands on the regrowth ray and restored all the cities. In other versions, Brainiac joined hands with Lex Luthor, trying to take down Superman and conquer different worlds. He was also portrayed as an asteroid with a 12th level brain. Brainiac is gifted with superhuman intelligence and can manipulate technology to access unlimited information and use it to his advantage. This extraterrestrial being can project energy, has his own force field, and can smoothly interact with other machines. More interestingly, he can replicate himself, creating an army of Brainiacs who carry out his bidding. With advanced intelligence, he is Superman's most high-tech adversary, with the ability to defeat Superman. If DC can flesh out his character with a more consistent backstory, Brainiac can become a dangerous and challenging opponent. Toyman. From toy maker to the crazed toy man. Winslow Schott's journey to becoming Superman's underrated villain is an interesting one, and here's why. Winslow Schott, aka Toyman, was employed by LexCorp but got fired by Lex Luthor as Luthor didn't fully appreciate Schott's genius. Enraged by his unemployment, Winslow turned his toys into an army and used them to wreak havoc on the city. From money heists to luring children and holding them captive, the Toyman used his mechanical knowledge to spread his evil claws across cities. You might be thinking that Toyman seems like he can be easily taken down by Superman, but wait till you hear this. Toyman's genius led to create kryptonite embedded toys, which weakened Superman's powers and gave Toyman the winning edge. In fact, in Death of Superman, Toyman played a significant role in bringing about Superman's death. He wielded a powerful weapon to cause an earthquake in Metropolis, which ultimately ended in Superman's demise. Over the years, Toyman's character has undergone several revisions, each time giving him a deadlier approach. Although he comes across as an ordinary character, when you think of how he can play the Pied Piper, especially for the kids, you realize his true potential. He can mastermind the hijacking of an entire city using his toy army and pose a significant threat to Superman. Toyman's ability to invest can probably lead him to develop weapons that can ensnare or incapacitate Superman. His character definitely has the potential to do more damage than he's given credit for. Titano, the giant ape. The image on the front cover of the comic book feels like it's King Kong versus Superman, only this King Kong has superpowers too. Titano, the great ape, was a normal-sized chimpanzee named Toto once. He was sent to space as part of a space experiment. Unfortunately, his ship was exposed to radiation from 2 colliding meteors containing uranium and kryptonite. When Toto returned to Earth, he started mutating, growing bigger and bigger until finally he transformed into a giant ape. Thus was born Titano, giant ape. Titano gained super strength and kryptonite vision, which he has used time and time again to weaken Superman and cause him to back down. In the earlier version, Titano caused a rampage in Metropolis while holding Lois Lane in his hand, just like King Kong. In his attempt to save Lois, Superman attacked Titano but retracted when Titano used his kryptonite vision. Superman ultimately defeated Titano as Lois tricked the ape into wearing a pair of glasses that blocked his kryptonite vision. Titano, the great ape, is definitely a daunting opponent for Superman. The ape's most potent strength, the kryptonite vision, is Superman's biggest weakness. We feel that this superpower can lead Titano to weaken and even crush Superman. The giant ape appeared in several DC comics but didn't receive as much love and support from the fans. DC had to ultimately drop him out of the picture, but his evil doings had some terrible consequences, which is why we feel he's an underrated giant ape. Lord Satanis. Superman is vulnerable to magic, and Lord Satanis uses this weakness to his advantage. Lord Satanis hails from a future where the world is filled with mystical affairs. The masked and caped villain's origins are unknown, but we know that he was trying to find the Runestone of Merlin. Satanis found and killed Ambra, the possessor of the stone and the ruler of Earth, but Ambra sent the stone into the distant past. Ambra's daughter, Cyrene, continued to combat Satanis. In a compromise, Satanis and Cyrene, 2 of the mightiest mystics, married to stop fighting with each other. Yet both were trying to find the Runestone. Ultimately, they found a way to manipulate space and time to get the Runestone. However, they needed Superman to acquire the stone's magic, so they summoned him from the past. In the ensuing war, Superman was divided into 2 Supermen because of the powerful sorcery. Satanis, Cyrene, and the Supermen wander through the multiple timelines with exciting twists and turns. Satanis allegedly kills Cyrene in one of the battles. Ultimately, Superman reunites with his other self due to the magic of the Runestone and sends Satanis back to his era. The storyline of this epic cross-dimensional, cross-timeline battle is very intriguing. Satanis is a compelling sorcerer who can possess dead bodies and create chaos in his path, yet he remains unexplored as Superman's adversary by the makers, giving preference to the more known villains like Lex Luthor and General Zod. We hope to see Satanis fighting Superman in future adaptations of the comics in live-action movies. Ultra Humanite. The Ultra Humanite is among DC's most intelligent villains, with powers of telepathy and telekinesis, yet he remains undervalued. Let's look at the origins of this supervillain. The Humanite was designed to be the stark opposite of Superman. Where Superman possesses powers to fly and superhuman strength, the Humanite is a wheelchair-based bound human with exponential intellect and an undying desire to conquer the Earth. The Humanite gained his abilities due to experiments conducted on him in the past, though little of his past has been unveiled in the comics. Failing to find a cure for his diminishing health, the Humanite resorted to transferring his brain and consciousness into that of an albino gorilla, with the help of 2 other supervillains, Per Degaton and Despero. The successful brain transfer resulted in what we know as the Ultra Humanite. The Ultra Humanite has fought Superman and the Justice League several times. His ability to transfer his brain, and thus his powers, have been explored in the DC-verse, but not to their full potential. Along with enhanced intellect, telepathy, and telekinetic abilities, the Ultra Humanite also has super strength, durability, and hypnosis as his superpowers. The Ultra Humanite seems impossible to destroy, as he can transfer his consciousness from one body to another. While the comics say that he was eventually killed, we believe that he could still be lurking in the shadows, biding his time and the right body to take over. This superhuman genius is undoubtedly one of the strongest and more threatening supervillains in Superman's realm. The Superman mythology has seen numerous iconic supervillains who have endangered Superman's world time and again. While we have discussed 12 of them in this video, we know that there are many out there there with complex and stunning storylines that perhaps deserve mainstream acknowledgement. So, which one of these makes your list of underrated Superman villains? Do share your views and any suggestions you have in the comments, and we will try to incorporate those in our next video. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.